The money is gone, and they knew it before you did. Meghan Markle, the woman who stood on a stage in front of millions, draped in designer clothes, preaching about authenticity and female empowerment, is now watching her so-called empire crumble in real time. And the numbers? The numbers are absolutely damning. Let me be brutally clear about something. This isn't a rough patch. This isn't a pivot. This is a full-scale financial collapse, dressed up in press releases and carefully curated Instagram aesthetics. We're talking about a brand that was valued, their words, not mine, at somewhere north of $20 million. And right now? Right now it is worth considerably less than the silence coming out of Montecito. But here's what they don't want you to know. The collapse didn't happen overnight. It was building, quietly, methodically, behind closed doors, behind NDAs, behind the kind of legal language designed specifically to keep people like you and me from asking the right questions. And I am asking them tonight. Let's go back to the beginning, because context is everything. When Harry and Meghan walked away from the royal family in January 2020, they didn't just walk away from duty. They walked away with a plan, a business plan, a brand strategy that was supposed to make them not just independent, but untouchable. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were going to conquer Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and the global wellness market all at once. That was the pitch. That was the dream they sold to Netflix, to Spotify, and to every breathless journalist who printed their press releases as gospel truth. Spotify was first to blink, and when they blinked, they did it loudly. The deal, reportedly worth somewhere around $18 million, was terminated. Terminated. Not paused, not renegotiated, terminated. A Spotify executive, speaking with the kind of bluntness that sends shockwaves through publicist offices, reportedly described the Sussexes as, and I want you to hear this clearly, grifters. That word, that specific word, used by someone inside one of the world's most powerful audio platforms. And Meghan's team said nothing, because what on earth do you say to that? But that's not even the most shocking part. Wait until you hear what the financial documents actually show. The Netflix deal was supposed to be the lifeline, $100 million. That was the figure being whispered in boardrooms and screamed across tabloid headlines. $100 million. For what exactly? For Harry and Meghan to produce content that the world was apparently desperate to consume. The reality? Their documentary, their deeply personal, carefully constructed, emotionally manipulative documentary, got a short-term spike and then disappeared into the streaming void like every other vanity project funded by people with more ego than talent. And Polo? Their latest offering? Critically received, with the kind of polite indifference that is, in many ways, more devastating than outright rejection. You can fight a bad review. You cannot fight being ignored. The streaming numbers don't lie. The engagement metrics don't lie. And the industry insiders who are now, quietly, carefully, distancing themselves from the Sussex brand, they don't lie either. Now let's talk about American Riviera Orchard, because this is where the story gets truly extraordinary. Meghan announced her lifestyle brand with the kind of fanfare usually reserved for royal proclamations, which, given the circumstances, is deeply ironic. The branding was impeccable. The aesthetics were flawless. The jam that was sent to a carefully selected group of celebrities, photographed, posted, shared, discussed. Jam. That was the opening salvo of a $20 million brand. Jam. But here's the hypocrisy that I find absolutely staggering. The trademark applications, plural, multiple applications, have been mired in legal complications. Delayed, contested, redacted from the public narrative that Meghan's team works overtime to control. The brand that was supposed to be launched, scaled, and monetized by now, still waiting, still pending, still not generating the revenue that was promised to investors, to partners, to the press, and most importantly, to themselves. And this is where the status conflict becomes impossible to ignore. Because while Harry and Meghan are burning through resources in Montecito, back in London, the royal family is thriving. King Charles, a man they publicly humiliated, whose cancer diagnosis Harry reportedly learned about and then flew home from without staying, is overseeing a monarchy that has never been more stable in the post-Queen era. William and Catherine are popular. They are working. They are not launching jam brands or sitting across from Oprah rewriting history for a global audience. The contrast is not subtle. It is shambles versus substance. And the British public, indeed the global public, is beginning to notice. But wait, because I have not yet told you about the security costs. This is the part that should make every single person watching this video absolutely furious. Harry and Meghan left the royal family, in part because of their dispute over security arrangements. They took that dispute, that deeply personal, intensely private dispute, and they aired it publicly. They lobbied, they litigated, they gave interviews about it, and all the while, they were spending on private security at a level that industry analysts estimate runs into the millions annually. Millions per year. On security. For a couple who are no longer working royals. For a couple whose primary income streams are now demonstrably under severe pressure. Where is that money coming from? That is the question nobody in the mainstream press seems willing to ask with the directness it deserves. So I'm asking it, where is the money coming from? Here is what the redacted financial picture looks like when you strip away the PR gloss and look at the raw arithmetic. The Spotify deal is dead. The Netflix deal is underperforming relative to its initial valuation. The lifestyle brand is legally entangled. The memoir, Spare, sold extraordinarily well initially, but book royalties are a finite resource, not a renewable income stream. The speaking circuit, while lucrative, has seen notable cancellations and, crucially, a declining premium on the Sussex name in certain markets. And now, there are whispers. Whispers that I take very seriously because they are coming from multiple independent sources with direct knowledge of the Sussex financial operation. Whispers that the $20 million brand valuation was always more aspiration than reality. That the books being kept behind those Montecito gates tell a story very different from the one being sold on social media. That the gap between the lifestyle they are projecting and the financial reality they are living is widening every single month. This is the exposed truth that their entire operation is designed to prevent you from seeing. The NDAs, the carefully worded statements, the strategic media appearances timed to reset the narrative whenever the numbers start leaking through the cracks. It is a masterclass in image management, and it is, I would argue, one of the most audacious financial confidence tricks ever performed on the global stage. Because let's be absolutely clear about the disgrace at the heart of this story. These are two people who left an institution, an ancient, imperfect, complicated institution, claiming that they needed financial independence, creative freedom, and the ability to live authentically on their own terms. Those were the stated reasons. Financial independence. And the result of that quest for financial independence is a brand in crisis, deals collapsed, trademarks contested, and security bills that would bankrupt a small nation. They told the world they were building something real, something lasting, something that would prove that they didn't need the monarchy, didn't need the taxpayer, didn't need the institution they so publicly abandoned and so privately, I believe, still desperately miss. And instead, what they have built is a beautifully photographed, expensively maintained, financially precarious house of cards. Here is my final word, and I want Meghan Markle in particular to hear this clearly. You built your brand on authenticity. That was the word, authentic. You were going to be real, raw, honest, in a way the royal family could never be. You were going to show the world what true female empowerment looks like. And what does it look like? It looks like trademark disputes over a jam brand. It looks like a Spotify executive calling you a grifter. It looks like financial documents that nobody will show the public because the numbers tell a story that destroys the narrative entirely. The money is gone, Meghan. And sooner or later, sooner I suspect, the full accounting will come. The documents will surface. The insiders will talk. They always do. And when they do, I will be right here, asking every question your publicists have spent millions trying to prevent. Because that is what journalism is. That is what accountability looks like. And that, unlike your lifestyle brand, is something I will never, ever apologize for.